Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a VeVe OMI update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love y'all. Dashi is downstairs. I'm up here because a little black pug over there doesn't like to be alone. Anyway, on this stream, most recently at around the hour mark, 58-minute mark, whatever, I got a question that read, Randy, people flooding OMIs hitting a new all-time low while Bitcoin is over 100K. How do you even begin to explain that despite being down 99%, it's actually still not at all-time low, just to stop them from running away? So this is probably the best question that I could answer that encapsulates all the things. And this is going to be probably a long video. Apologies about that. And yeah, why is OMI down? Today, short-term reasoning is just because the rest of the market's down. People have these knee-jerk reactions. So, okay, World War III might be happening. I don't think it is. You might see some short-term troop movements. You might see some more bombings. You might see some more action in this conflict. But I don't actually believe World War III is on its way. And if it is, not great things. But if it's not, I think, and you see even right now, despite only being down to 0001857, it was actually down to 0000180. There's probably even a couple times where it went below that. Again, the market just did not have a good day at all. It has seemed to have bounced a bit. Bitcoin was down towards 98. Ethereum is down to like 21. Bitcoin's at 101 now. Ethereum's at over 2,200. So why is OMI down overall? Why is OMI down on this particular? You know, how do you go and calm someone down? Well, I think it's a gross misunderstanding of where value comes from. And I had a couple of businesses before this, and I'm building a couple more now, but one of them was in Pokemon cards. And you had in 2019, you had people that were selling these first edition PSA 9 cards, holographics. Now, the difference between holo and non-holo, in case you know, like holo is shiny. There's some shine. There's some holographic holo to that card. Those are very rare. You could maybe get one holo card in every 3 packs you open, because on average, if you get a box, 36 packs, 12 of those packs are probably going to have a holo in it. And in the first, let's say, base set, it was like there's 16 cards that could have holos. So they were very hard to get. Some of them were very rare. They were all equal rarity. But back in 2019, if you were going to go to grade a card with PSA, you had a card. Let's say you bought a pack, and in that pack you get a holo. It's 1 out of the 3 that can get a holo, and it's in good enough condition where you're like, you know what, this is like a 9 or 10. You know, I'm going to grade this. You put it in a penny sleeve, you put it in a plastic card placeholder, you put cardboard around it. After you put cardboard around it, you put it in bubble wrap and you ship it out. And cards were $12, $15 a card to get graded. Now, if you had some type of company agreement, and I had this for a while, you could go in and you do a bulk order, 50 cards. It gets down to like $9 a card, $7 a card to get graded, right? And that's if you had that's and it wasn't like you got it back like a month later, or like next week, you know, even 2 months later. You had to, one, buy a pack of cards, pray that the person didn't weigh it, because back in the day you could tell by how much it weighed, because if it was hollow, it would be ground a little bit heavier. Yeah, Team Rocket did crazy stuff to find that out. But what you could do is, okay, you get a pack, you open it, you rip it open, you get this one card that is worth getting graded. All of that, what I just said, and then waiting 10 months to a year to get it back, where if I send this card out, I could go out that night, meet a girl, have a great time, get her pregnant, we get married, we have the kid. All of that can happen before that card can come back to me. So if you buy it already graded, you skip all of that stuff. And if people were selling these first edition PSA 9 holographic cards. To tell you that difference, PSA 10 is the highest grade that you can get. That is gem mint. PSA 9 is still a mint card. That is like the next highest grade that you can get. So people were taking the risk out of doing all that, because you could have this card, looks good enough to get graded, but then there's maybe a little dent that you don't see, maybe a little whitening, maybe a little edge wear, maybe it's not perfectly centered, and maybe it gets a 7 or an 8, and then the card is not worth that much at all. So the risk was taken out. The price is what you pay, and the value is what you get. All of the risk was taken out when you just bought that card. It's already first edition, mint card, PSA 9, holographic. You just pay like the $20 and that's it. So I thought people were taking crazy pills. Like, why are you selling this mint card for the cost of grading? That is lunacy. And I was very much right. All those PSA 9 cards, holographic, they were going for like $80, $100 something dollars, not even a year later. There was also another formula that I'd created, and if it ever goes back, like if this is a college class at some point, they'll come back to me and look at this. PSA 10, which is, again, the highest grade that you can get, holo, first edition, would go for anywhere from 5 to 8 times what the PSA 9 was going for. There were a couple exceptions for this. You'd have lapras, because those were insanely hard to get graded, or you would have something like a Shining Charizard in the Neo Destiny set, and the lapras, and that was fairly easy to get graded. So the PSA 9, PSA 10, for the Shining Charizard, it would be like double, but the lapras, it'd be like a 20x. But outside of those two, most of the other ones were 5 to 8x of what the 9 was going for. So if you had one of these cards that were first edition PSA 10 and they were only going for 2x the price, I would buy up all the 10s. Or if the PSA 10 was going for like 15 or 20x the price, I would buy up all the 9s. And again, X amount of months later, maybe a year later, the market would correct, and then again, I would make all this money. I see that same thing with OMI and VeVe right now. Nothing's changed with the company. The thesis of the company has remained the same. They make digital collectibles, they sell, they get money on the back end on the secondary market, whether that's with VeVe on their own secondary market or Stacker with OMI, which all of that burns OMI. Everything that's bought on Stacker, every single transaction on Stacker burns OMI. Amazing. Oh, there's a deer out there. Oh, there's 2 of them. Anyway, in the same way that there was no risk in buying a first edition PSA 9 Pokemon card, because again, like that risk is taken out. You're getting that card at cost. Sometimes it would cost even more. So you're getting it either at a discount or at cost. And sure, you could have bought that card at like $20, $25 and see it on auction or listing the next day, maybe for like $15, $18, $12, whatever. Again, people were taking crazy pills at this time. In that same breath, I see OMI right now as virtually no risk. It's not like DEVVE years back. People bought in the pre-sale at DEVVE like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And yeah, now it's went from like $1.80, it's like 30 cents now, 36 cents, whatever it is. But the risk now is just so much less because, again, DEVVE, they have that exchange coming out later this year. The risk is basically gone. Obviously, none of this is financial advice. Anything can go to zero at any moment, especially in a World War III nuclear scenario. But VeVe and OMI have already been through a bear market. If they had like another 5 years to go until the bull market, I'd be like, okay, I don't know if they can keep this up for another 5 years and still, make it there. Maybe like an 80% chance as opposed to what I think now is like a 99% chance. And again, I think the risk is taken out. And just the same way someone could have bought a PSA 9 first edition holo card for $25 and maybe seen it on the market, the next day for like $18. Yeah, you could buy OMI at 00018 right now, and you could see it get cut in half. You could see it go to quad 09 because it's still at a $50-something million market cap. It can go to 25, it can go to 20. It could go lower. Like a lot of times crypto is an inaccurate weighing machine where it's almost never where it should be. It's either overvalued in a blow-off top bull, or it's undervalued in a horrendous bear, which is what we're seeing right now. So again, the risk is gone, and I know there's already 10 minutes here. David's coming on my channel. You guys will probably see this video on Monday. He's coming on my channel tomorrow on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And he's going to talk more about OMI in this 1-hour show than he has done any time the last 4 years combined. When I asked Dr. Stuff last week on the OMI is My Homie show, I was like, why is everyone coming back from Lisbon so excited on OMI? Why are they so pumped about it? Was there any alpha spilled? Was like, you don't have to tell me what it is, but just, what was it? And I asked him publicly, and he just said it wasn't due to any particular alpha shared or any particular like data point, although them saying that they had 1.4 billion in transactions on the secondary market the last 4 years was insane. It wasn't that. He said it was more of that they actually talked about OMI, because again, they didn't mention the token for like 3.5 years. Nothing at all. The OMI has not come out of their mouths in years. And suddenly it's in a presentation at a Web3 conference. Everyone was very bullish. Talk to anyone that was there. The sentiment could not be higher. Now, granted, today, what we have, again, OMI at not all-time lows, but it's the local low for the last 3-4 years since the app launched, almost 5 years now. So I understand, and again, I understand that people see a lot of red, and you could have asked me a year ago at 0006, whatever it was, like, hey, is OMI a good buy? And I'm like, well, long term, yeah. Short term, it could do what it wants. But I wouldn't dissuade anyone from buying it a year ago, because again, I thought it was undervalued, and even now, I still think it's undervalued. Where does it go in? Again, you'll have people that will sell now, and I think the type of people that are selling right now, either they like, hey, there's a life emergency that they need to sell like everything, and part of that's with OMI. Or it could be like maybe they have inside info or they have alpha on some other company, like, hey, I know OMI's going to do great things. We don't know when that's going to be, but there's this announcement on this token. It's going to happen on this day. And cool, fine. But then again, I see the gross misunderstanding of where value comes from. And people will be like, oh, hey, this token over here, it's done like a 3x past 3 days. I got to get in this token. It's like, well, you probably should have got in before the 3x. Okay, what's that token do? It's like, I don't know. Okay, is it, like, who's the CEO? I don't know, but I know that people are excited about it. They're talking about it. They're going nuts. Everyone's saying to buy in. It's like, Rafi, what are you doing over there? So again, I think price is what you pay. The value is what you get. I think the risk is mostly gone. And if you bought $100,000 worth of OMI at 0002, right? Say like 500 million OMI. What are you in this for? Are you in it for a 20% gain? Or are you in it for a 20x? If you're in it for a 20% gain, then by all means, if it goes from 0002 to 0004, you're probably going to sell. But I don't think people are in this for a 20% gain or even a 2x. In fact, one second, guys. Little guy's pushing a plate. If you're in this for a 20x, if it goes from 0002 to 0004, are you going to sell? Probably not. So then what's the difference if it goes from 0002 to 0004, or if it goes down to 0001 or quad 08? If you're not going to sell, then why does it matter what happens in the inter? And I know that easier said than done, because it's not easy to see your bags go down. What type of investor do you want to be? Do you want to be someone that sees the long-term vision and understands the underlying fundamentals of a company? Or do you want to be the person that got frustrated and let their emotions get the better of them and sold at the local 4-year low? That question is anyone to ask themselves. I don't know why he's doing that. Anyway, please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. I love you all. Class dismissed. Bye, guys. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow.